the more muscle mass a person has, the decreased on all-cause mortality. So if you think about it, you're lifting weights to help save your life, essentially.
A lot of women tend to think that creatine is only for bodybuilders or only for men. So let's talk about that. Let's dig deep.
What's going on? This is Dr. Joe, and this is Insights with Ignite, where we look at the up-to-date practices for health, wellness, and fitness. Today, I'm joined by health expert Jackie Cardenas. Jackie, thank you for joining me. Tell me how you got into the fitness and wellness space.
Hi, Joe. Thank you so much for having me. I've always been active. I've done several half marathons, completed sprint triathlons. And so I think like many people, I just always thought that cardiovascular health was the way to stay fit. So then when I wanted to tone, I realized I needed to shift the way I worked out, right? And at first I felt super intimidated, honestly, by weight training. And then I started becoming more educated about it and I started noticing my body shifting, changing the way that I wanted it to. And so that's how I got started with weight training. Through that uh through that experience.
Right.
And then while I was weight training, I went through a really rough patch. And so I used the gym and that time to process my emotions and help me strengthen my mind and body at once. This experience completely changed my relationship with fitness, and that is what led me to become a trainer. Also, I grew up in a household where there was a common belief that women who lifted weights would then become more masculine, right?
Makes sense.
So, and this is actually a huge misconception that I often face with my yeah, with the
Makes
people,
sense. Yeah, you hear it all
ladies
the
I
time.
train. Yeah, I hear that all the time, and I'm like, oh, I completely understand where that belief comes from. However, this is exactly why you need to be here because
Right.
we need to build muscle and you will not look like a man or look more masculine. It takes a long time. I explained to him how it takes a long time to build muscle.
That makes sense. And we know the study suggested the more muscle mass a person has, the decreased on all-cause mortality. So if you think about it, you're lifting weights to help save your life, essentially. The more muscle mass, the less likelihood you have of dying from all causes. I think the particular study was leg mass. Leg muscle mass equals better cardiovascular health, less heart attacks. So we know if you have more muscle mass, you're going to be healthier, period. And I do see that across the board. I used to be in Coronado, and a lot of people would do cardio and yoga, hot yoga, but they wouldn't lift weights. And we know that's changing bone density. We know that when you increase bone density, it requires resistance against gravity. So lifting weights is going to help that bone density maintain its integrity. And that's going to change a whole bunch of things definitely in the aging woman, which is our demographic. We see women 30 to 55 most of the time, and they're going through different changes. So when I ask, you got to start lifting weights, a lot of them say, well, I don't want to get too bulky. And that's just an objection that I hear from people. It's like, you're not going to get bulky, but have someone to show them the way would be very, very helpful.
Exactly. Yeah. And that demographic is very similar to the demographics that I typically work with. And so I do explain that as well, especially when I get clients that haven't ever weight trained or they maybe go to you or
Yeah.
go to a doctor and the doctor says you need to start weight training. I explain that we're going to start with legs first and then everything else will come after. But definitely I agree.
Excellent.
It's significant.
It's very important, and one of the things we're talking about today is supplementation. It's just so very interesting. I had a case of a patient who came in. They just reactivated. They came in. They were like, Dr. Joe, last time I was here, I could barely get out of bed, and I'm better. I'm lifting weights now, and I was really, really happy with them. And I was like, that's great. Are you making sure that you're taking your proper nutrients, proper supplementation, so that we can resurface joints and maintain and increase on your gains? And she was like, I'm not really sure. What's the difference between collagen and creatine? And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. I'm going to be talking about that this Friday. So when it comes to our patients, I cannot skip over minerals and nutrients and supplementation that they have to have in order for their body to heal. In chiropractic, we say the body can heal itself. But if you're not replenishing it with nutrients, then they're going to have limited things to do to heal. So I guess the question we want to ask is, we talk about collagen and creatine all the time. In your opinion, what is the difference between collagen and creatine?
Yeah, there's some very big significant differences, and I'm going to go through each of them. But I am so glad that you asked that question. That's a very, very good question. And a lot of people actually think that it could possibly be the same thing,
Hmm.
or a lot of women tend to think that creatine is only for bodybuilders or only for
Oh yeah,
men.
for sure.
And so let's talk about that. Let's
Yeah.
dig deep. So your collagen is protein, right? And it
Hmm.
helps you rebuild your tendons, your ligaments, your muscles, for example, and it helps with hair and nails and all of that. The creatine, what that does, it helps to strengthen within. It helps your cell energy. So think
Right.
about it this way. So the collagen, I like to call it like a WD-40 for your joints,
Okay.
because what it does, it lubricates your joints and your tendons and your muscles,
Excellent. Yeah.
right? And so
Exactly.
the collagen, it helps to keep your framework together, while
Hmm.
creatine, what it does, it helps you kind of strengthen and power, so you're able to optimize
Excellent. I like that.
from both ends.
Yeah. Excellent. WD-40 for the joints. And that's what we're dealing with at our office is we're adjusting joints. And I want those joints to stay healthy so that giving the body what it needs to resurface and replenish and keep the body together is super important. I do my part, they do their part, and we get the best patient outcome.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So as a chiropractor and a personal trainer, we're both talking about creatine and collagen and recommending that for our patients. I'm doing it on the level of resurfacing the joints, making sure everything can heal itself. What angle are you trainers taking as far as recommending creatine and collagen?
So from a trainer's perspective, when you're breaking down the muscle, you want to be able to nourish your body with additional supplementation to be able to allow your tendons and your muscles
Makes
and
sense.
the structure of your body to rebuild, right,
Mm-hmm.
strongly.
Makes
And the
sense.
creatine helps with being able to maintain that strength and that muscle as they continue on through their fitness journey.
Gotcha. With creatine, a lot of people, like you mentioned, think it makes you super bulky. The research, it's one of the most researched supplements in history, essentially. But what is the creatine doing for the patient or the
Yeah,
client?
and that's an excellent question. A lot of women have this notion, idea, or misconception that creatine is for only for bodybuilders or for men. And like you indicated, there is lots of research that actually it helps not just with your inner strength, but it also helps with a brain function. And so there's a lot of pre and post menopausal issues, not issues, but reasons why they should
Right.
take it, even small doses, which
Nice.
is for another conversation.
Understand.
But yes, but I think it's super important that they start becoming a little bit more aware of how it will significantly impact positively, or how it will positively impact their
Yes.
health.
And so we know that creatine and collagen are excellent for our patients. They're a must have. But when it comes to brand, I am a stickler for bioavailability, potency, testing. What supplement do I take? Do I go to Costco and get the cheapest brand? Do I go get something online or for some Instagram guy? How are we, looking at what supplement do I get and which is the best so that we can make sure that it's going to absorb in our body and our body's actually be able to use it?
And that's a great question. Like you, I'm sure you don't recommend products that you don't wouldn't take yourself or
Exactly.
that you trust. So
Hmm.
as a trainer, I don't recommend anything that I don't take myself or that I don't trust. And so for that reason, I think it's super important to have the research readily available, which is why, for example, I love the creatine powder blend that I take with Ashakli. All of the information for their scientific studies and how they go about building it and creating it is right there on their website. I love the creatine that they have. It's what I use and what I recommend.
Excellent. And if they have studies from PubMed, they're really doing their due diligence of testing, and that's really important for me. And
Yes.
most of our patients want to know, hey, is this the real deal, or is this just some kind of powder that's not even going to work?
Yes,
So it's very important
exactly.
for me as a physician to be recommending the best thing that they can take, and I personally take them as well. So
Yeah, I agree.
definitely important to know what supplement and they do matter. What brand you're getting does matter.
Absolutely, I agree, and that's why I also love, as I mentioned, the collagen. The collagen I take is BioSol collagen. I've taken it for years, and I started taking it because I was training for a half marathon.
Oh, nice.
And sometimes your body takes a beating when you're training, training, training.
Right.
So I started noticing all of these little like aches and pains, especially on my joints.
Yeah.
And I tried the different powders and the
Mhm.
different collagens, and I'm when you said Costco, it just resonated with me. But yes, I've
Yeah.
tried them all, and finally I came across one that actually worked. It took me about a little bit over a month to actually see the results because, we can all have a gym membership, but unless you actually go to the gym and you're working out,
Right.
you're not going to see a difference. So just with supplements as well, as long as you're taking them consistently and it's backed by research, it should work. It's worked for me. I absolutely love it and I always recommend it. And what I especially love about this BioCell is that they do an outstanding job with just researching and creating a collagen that actually is absorbed by your body, which is very different than a lot of the collagens that are out there. Not to mention that it's super easy to take. So this collagen is liquid. You take a spoonful in the morning,
Okay.
one in the evening, and that's it. There's no mixing or forcing yourself to finish your drink so that you're
Right.
able to get a full dose.
Excellent. Yeah. So we've heard liquid collagen being advantageous than the powders. And so, yeah, again, if it can get in the body easier, by all means, that's what we want to do. If it's simpler, that's a bonus for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, so looking at this graphic here, we can see, age 21 to 30, collagen levels start to decrease by 10% every 9 to 10 years. And that's not just, a lot of people think collagen is just for your face and, collagen to make your skin nice and tight, but it's also the joints.
It
And there's
is.
different types of collagen in your body as well. But overall, the collagen is dropping 10% every 10 years. You should definitely be supplementing to help maintain the integrity of our joints and our bones. Okay. So those numbers may be even higher for people who are malnourished and they're overfed but malnourished. And that's something that we want to make sure that our patients are supplementing with when we're talking about the neuromuscular skeletal system.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important for them to offset the the lack of collagen production in their bodies. And so, like as you indicated, yes, it's very important to have healthy hair and skin and nails and
Mhm.
all of that. But you're not seeing your tendons in in your joints, but you do feel them. So
Right.
it's important, and I think your body just tells you naturally when you need that little oil for your joints.
Exactly. And prevention is huge, as you get into the older ages, falls and even working out, making sure that osteopenia and osteoporosis isn't a factor. Having collagen in your body is definitely going to help avoid and prevent injury during falls, which our senior population is getting bigger and bigger. And them having the proper things in their body so that they can replenish is very, very important.
Yeah, I agree.
So for chiropractic, we deal with the nervous system, which is comprised of the brain, the spinal cord, and the spinal nerves. So brain health is very, very important to us. And one of my favorite things when we're talking about creatine is the neuroprotective component. TBIs, like car accidents, concussions, any type of head trauma, there is oxidative stress that is occurring. But if the body has enough brain creatine, it's protective of those neurons. If you have ischemia or if you're having loss of oxygen to the brain for whatever reason, having creatine in the brain will help preserve those nerves, which is just excellent. So I have a lot of young athletes who play sports and they have contact sports or they get into forces to the head. We want to make sure that they're protected there. So having creatine in your normal daily supplement stack, I think, is very important for athletes and just the layperson. So
I
the
agree.
other thing about creatine I thought was amazing is we know that it helps cellular ATP, cellular energy, right? And just us sitting here talking, our brain is taking 20% of that ATP. So our brain just doing its normal thing without any activity is taking a lot of our cellular energy. When you have creatine in your diet, when you have creatine you're supplementing with, it helps negate that, helping your body have more energy. They actually did that on sleep deprivation. The study was shown when patients are sleep deprived, they can function and have a recall memories faster when they're on creatine, which I thought is amazing. Obviously, you want to get good sleep, but in reality, patients are busy. They have kids, they have sports, they have jobs, fitness, and sometimes they miss out on a little bit of sleep. But keeping your sharp brain by supplementing with creatine, I think, is a game changer for sure. One of the number one things I see in our patient outcomes is the fact that nutrition plays such a vital role. When patients are getting adjusted multiple times a week, they're strengthening their bodies, but they're not doing the nutrition component and their diets are still full of inflammation, they're going to slow down their prognosis. And when they're constantly inflamed, when you're constantly inflamed, you can't really build muscle. So but the biggest thing is if they can change their diet. If they're in my office and we're not talking about nutrition, I'm not really giving them the full care that they need. So it's very, very important that supplementation is a factor because let's face it, today the apple that we ate when we were kids is not the same apple that my son's eating because the minerals have changed in the soil. So we are, again, overfed but undernourished. And so that's very, very important that we tell them nutrition is paramount to get better.
Okay, so the top 3 tips, I think are the most significant when it comes down
Mhm.
to training or living a healthy lifestyle is consistency over perfection. So
I love that.
consistently working out or consistently taking the supplements that you know you should be taking. They don't work when they're just in
Exactly.
the cabinet,
Makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
Okay, the next one is also always improve your posture before increasing your weight.
Very important.
I have very, very strong clients, and I come across people that are very, very strong, but when you don't do exercises correctly, then you get hurt
That makes
and
sense.
then you backtrack and then
Gotcha.
you got to start all over again,
That
right?
makes sense. That's what we talk about in chiropractic. Make sure the frame's in the best position and then go exercise. Don't race your car, break it, and then get tuned up. Tune up your race car and then go perform. And
Perfect.
that's where training and chiropractic go hand in hand.
Yeah, and it's actually like I want to also mention, like you said, consistency also in getting your adjustments and making sure that you're getting the rest, to make sure that you are
True that.
sleeping the amount of hours that you need because your body needs that to be able to heal and your muscles to grow.
That makes sense.
So
Love it. Sometimes my patients will be like, "Oh, I need that supplement again." And I was like, that was a 30-day pack. It's like 4 months later. They're like, "I
oh
know." So
yeah.
it is, it is our job to make sure we guide our patients and
Yes.
to make sure they're supplementing appropriately. And every bottle, most of them, guys, is 30 days. Make sure
Yes.
you have another one coming, or you already have multiple packs, so your body has that and nourish itself with that.
So as we discussed, so you stopped producing collagen after the same amount of collagen after the age of 25, right? And according to what we see here, it slows up to 1.5% per year, and that's 37.5% reduction by the age of 50.
That's wild.
I'm so close. So did you know
Yeah.
actually collagen is like the biggest protein, right? And
Right.
100% of your tendons are made up by it, 86% of your ligaments, and 70% of your skin,
Got it.
60% of your cartilage, and 33% of your bones.
It's like the glue that makes up the body, right?
It does,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you guys can see here, we have a model of the knee. Chiropractors can adjust joints, but we cannot, the body needs nourishment of the tendons and the meniscus, the hyaline cartilage that's occurring. And if some of that's coming from cartilage, I want to make sure our patients have as much as they can to help resurface the joints, maintain their integrity. I have patients who are in their 20s and their joint health is very, very bad. There's osteoarthritis occurring. And I have patients who are playing tennis in their 70s and their knees look great. So you want to arrive to 70, 80 on purpose, not on accident. So when you're taking creatine and collagen, you're taking something that's going to guarantee that when you get into the later stages of life, you're still having a good time, you're still having fun, and you're pain free. And I think that's super, super important because the more we move, the younger the brain stays, the younger the body stays. We have not found a way to put exercise in a pill. The things that exercise do and change in the body, BDNF, all the changes that happen to your hormones, the antidepressant, anti-anxiety effects of exercise cannot be replicated. You have to exercise. And if we can make sure the frame is in the best position by recommending collagen and creatine, it's going to be a game changer over time. And that's why it's part of our pillars of chiropractic is nutrition, physical strength, and mental emotional wellness.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better. So, Joe, as we were talking earlier, after the age of 25, you naturally stop producing collagen up to 1.5% per year, and that's about 37.5 reduction by the age of 50. That's almost my age.
That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of reduction of collagen for sure. And when people hear that, that's the first thing they think is, skin,
Yes, it's good.
right?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one for
Yeah.
women.
So 70% of collagen is skin, as we can see, 60% cartilage and 33% bones. We've talked about the knee. We talked about, I personally had a shoulder injury and I always supplement with collagen. I think that was a huge part of repairing my shoulder. So
Hmm.
um, it is very important. Collagen and creatine need to be in your stack for longevity so that you can be the person you want to be and take care of the people you need to take care of. I think it's very, very important. So I'm glad we have to talk about that. Jackie, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, the best way to get a hold of me is through Instagram. You can follow me at Fit with Jackie. You can DM me through there. I'm pretty active. I love to share fitness tips,
Excellent.
and I little hacks, advice. But if they have any specific questions about creatine or collagen, they're welcome to email me. We can go ahead and put my email up as well.
Excellent.
And I'm always here to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And something we say in chiropractic, you never know what you say, do, or think today will affect the lives of millions tomorrow. And we take people one person at a time, but that effect can go above and beyond and change a neighborhood and a community and the world. And so what we were trying to do, one person at a time. I really appreciate you being here. And I think it's going to be awesome information for people to understand. Get this in your body, pick a good type that you like. And the ones that we recommend, they're undeniably top of the
They're
top.
good. We use them.
Yes.
Must be
So thank you so
good.
much. Thank you for joining us at Insights with Ignite. We'll be back with more information about health, wellness, and fitness. Hope you have a good day and stay well.